How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Wolves. We're here for another match preview as Wolves are going to be travelling to Newcastle for another away game in the Premier League. My name is Dave, and as you can see me alongside me today, I've got Matt Cooper. Matt, how's it going, man?
Lovely, pal. How are you?
All good, mate. All good. Thanks for asking. Another away trip for Wolves. One of, was it 4 in a row now? Maybe, yeah, 4 in a row, I think, for Wolves. So it's going to be a busy period coming up, of course. Newcastle, we've just played Slovan Bratislava. We've got Villa midweek and then Arsenal away from home next week as well. But before we jump into the match preview, be sure to go and check out our channel partners over at One Football. As always, we'll leave a link to them in the top of the description. You can check it out, an app for your phone, iPhone, Android, all three on there. You can check up on the live scores, your live football news, all the match stats from today's video, and all the transfer gossip as well over on there. So as I say, free to download down below. But Matt, Newcastle United away, fantastic win for Wolves against Slovan Bratislava in midweek, and it was a good way, I suppose, to bounce back from a pretty, I don't want to say disappointing result, but not the best result against Southampton last week.
I think the Southampton one's only disappointed because we know we should have won that game. But when you look at the actual game itself, we didn't really. I know we had 2 goals disallowed, but we didn't create enough to perhaps win it. So it's disappointing in both aspects, really. But I thought the Bratislava game.
It's a bit of a weird one as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. First half, I remember I tweeted saying it's just mental how rubbish we are. Like it was terrible. Obviously they scored really early, which I said to my dad when it went in. He went, "Oh, bloody rubbish." I went, "Look, it's like, what was it, like 7 minutes, something like that." So I could rather them score it now than 80 odd. So
yeah.
It was first half was really, really bad. Again, there's absolutely no creativity whatsoever. Nothing was sticking up top. Catroni had probably his worst game in a Wolves shirt. Gibbs White was completely anonymous. There was too many players not doing the jobs. I thought Kilman did okay. Cody was perhaps at fault, getting done too easily one-on-one for the first one. Obviously it's deflected off him and in. But it was disappointing the first half, and you know what you're going to get with Wolves. You're never going to get a good first half performance. I can't remember the last time that happened was Arsenal.
Yeah, I think I saw
3-0.
I saw a ridiculous stat regarding our goals this season, and I think like 14 out of 16 have come in the second half.
We've only scored 2 first half goals.
Yeah.
And we're bottom for chances created as well in the league. That's that stat I put up on my Twitter. It's concerning because it relies on your likes of Jota and Jimenez to be magnificently prolific, and sometimes they aren't. So it is a little bit concerning. But second half they came out, brought Adama on, who again absolutely changed the game, as he has done in 95% of the games he's played in this season. What a revelation he's been under Nuno. That pre-season looks to have done in the world of good. He drove us up the pitch. They were frightened of him, the committed players. And we worked our way back into the game. I thought Saïss was excellent all game. To come in from the cold with an injury, to slot in there. You know, he's been asked to play here, there and everywhere. He was the only one who could put his foot on it, kind of have a look round and with a bit of composure. And I thought he was the man of the match for me.
Yeah, and it was a strong second half by Wolves, and we're hoping obviously that could take the momentum into Sunday. I think that first half reminded me a little bit as well of the away game at Punic. You know, when I think everyone was expecting us to roll over Punic quite early, and the way that they sort of came at us in the first 10-15 minutes or so. And I saw a lot of people worried on Twitter, and I thought, yeah, I'd much rather them come at us now in the first 10-15 minutes, like as you said, and maybe if we did make a mistake and concede, I'd rather it happen in the first 10 minutes when you've got 80 minutes to do something about it than, you know, in the second half. And that's what Wolves did. You know, we weathered the storm in the first half, and then second half, much better performance. And I agree with you there with the change of Adama really did change it up for Wolves. But obviously back to Premier League action now, coming thick and fast now.
Yeah.
And we are, 9 games into the season. Just 2 wins for Wolves this season, but at the same time, just 2 defeats as well. It does seem a lot more. I don't know how I feel about the season so far, Matt, especially in the league, because it's just been weird, hasn't it? I think with the amount. I think this is our 20th competitive game already, like this season. So the games are just coming thick and fast, aren't they?
I think it's going to sound really pessimistic, but the Man City game for me papered over the cracks somewhat, especially going into the Southampton game. We hit City on the counter attack fantastically and beating the champions 2-0 away from home. everyone had the rose-tinted glasses on. Oh, Wolves are back, and then obviously we play Southampton and we're poor again. I think it's going to take a bit of time for us to get properly going to hit the heights that we did last season. You look at Burnley last season. Although they haven't played as many games as we did because they didn't qualify, it took them 3 months to really get into their stride, and then in the second half of the season they were one of the best teams in the league. I think only 2 teams got more points than them over that period, so we're not creating enough chances. It's as simple as that. However you want to dress it up. And someone replied to me, who had a valid point on Twitter, saying, but we're going to do that when we hit teams on the counter, which is all well and good, but it's when teams come and sit against us, the lesser teams, so to speak, that's when the problem is. That's when you need to be creating the chances, and we can't be hitting them on the counter. It is very predictable at the minute, but this is where again Nuno earns his corner, and I'm sure he'll figure it out. But I do think we need some reinforcements in January, especially in the midfield, because we've got 3 fairly defensive players. Neves is dropping deeper and deeper. He's trying to play more long balls, but he's completed passes. He's down to 71% from 81%, which is not great to poor. So he's trying those riskier passes more. He can see more of the pitch, but it's just not working. And when you only got 2 to aim at in front of you, I just don't think it's working as well. But it's not been a bad start if you kind of take into consideration all the other factors. But yeah, there's definitely room for improvement.
So what do you think though? Because of course Wolves now, when we play Newcastle, we'll have played half the teams in the Premier League, and we've already played a host of the teams that are already in the top half. We've played City, we've played Leicester, we've played Chelsea. We're going to, of course, coming up against Arsenal. We've played Palace, we've played Burnley. And, we are sort of bang on mid-table at the moment. A win can catapult us up to the top 6. A loss and results go against us can, put us towards a relegation zone. But I think you are right. I think it'll be interesting this weekend against Newcastle, because they sit back. They're a bit like Wolves, where they soak it up and counter-attack as well. But I really think if Wolves can grab, create a couple more chances, start winning more games. Of course, last season we had that horrific run in November, Matt. Sort of this at the end of November, if this coming month goes okay for Wolves, we could actually be sort of on par in terms of points in the league as well, to that identical time last season.
Yeah. I remember when that run happened last season, we both said, look, we're glad it's happening now rather than at the end of the season. But you look at the run of fixtures we've got on paper. There are some winnable games there, but I don't think it's as easy as people are making out. You saw that with the Southampton game. With Newcastle again, you fancy us to go there and get something, whether that be 3 points or the draw, because they are poor. I was listening to TalkSport on the way home, and I think they've only scored 5 goals this season. And Joe Linton's got 1, and they were slating him, saying he's not good enough. He's averaged 1.6 shots a game in the Premier League, and for a striker, it's pretty poor, really.
But do you think that's because of him, or do you think that's sort of a similar thing to the Wolves and the sort of link up and the the midfield behind him actually giving him the ball, sort of similar to Wolves?
I just think the way that Bruce is set up, it's like, right, we just cannot concede, and if we get a goal, then brilliant. I just start to think they're set up to attack teams. I mean, they brought Elmer on last season for a lot of money, and he's not featured as much as he would have liked to this season. So I just think they're trying to make sure they're defensively sound first before they're trying to put more points on the board. But they've had good wins, Did they beat Spurs? Didn't they? They beat United, so they are capable of doing it, but it's whether they can turn up and do it. I don't think they're going to be as motivated playing us as they would be those 2 teams. But I just think it's the way they're set up, and obviously Rafa going, the club's in a bit of limbo. But yeah, it's never a tough place. It's never an easy place to go, should I say? But what you need to do, and Nuno will say this, and it'll work perfectly for us because we don't turn up in the first half anyway. First half, keep it tight. Let the crowd get on the backs, get them frustrated, and then second half we come out and we really have a go, and that's exactly how I expect it to pan out.
Yeah, well, it has been a strange season for Newcastle so far. I think behind the scenes is probably one of the biggest reasons, why Newcastle are why why Newcastle are where they are at the moment. But at home, actually, in the league, they've not lost. They've only lost the one game, sorry, and that was on the opening day to Arsenal. But other than that, their home form has seen them draw to Watford, who, of course, probably one of the worst performers in the league so far. Drawn to Brighton, goalless as well, as you could tell. Like as you said, the goal scored for them is extremely low, and then actually going on to beat Manchester United at home in their last home game. But most recently, their past three fixtures is a 1-0 defeat to Chelsea away, that 1-0 win against Manchester United, but a horrific 5-0 defeat to Leicester City as well. Matt, if we can get going and get players forward, it could be. I know we tend to say it, or Wolves fans tend to say it every week. We owe a team that amount of goals, but if Wolves genuinely get going,
just won't happen, mate.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get to three,
would it be sod's? It would
like,
be
just chill out, boys.
It would be sod's law that Wolves, the team that haven't created the most chances, rock up to St James's and knock a few past them maybe, or it could happen the other way around with the form they're on as well.
I can't remember the last time we gave a team a good scene to.
Championship, wasn't it?
Yeah, Leeds at home 4.
Yeah, Bolton away, Burton at home, something like that.
Yeah, that's the last time I can remember. We've definitely not done it in the Prem, but Nuno's so cautious and so defensive. That's defensive, not negative. Before someone jumps on me back, I just can't see it happening. Not away from home.
Yeah.
But they're definitely there to go at, and if we lost this game, I'd be disappointed. Yeah,
I think so as well. We'll quickly move on to the thoughts of a Newcastle fan. This is Andy from Gallowgate Shots. He's going to be giving his thoughts and some quick insight on Newcastle United.
Hi guys, it's Andy from Gallowgate Shots. Thanks for having me on for your match preview. It's been a funny old season for Newcastle so far, really. Obviously started off on a bad note as you could think, with Rafa Benitez leaving us. The man single-handedly carried us for 3 seasons, and sort of all better off when we appointed Steve Bruce, which is the sort of worst, biggest managerial downgrade in history in the Premier League. So there was a lot of obviously we were pessimistic about the season, but also we didn't really know how we were going to play. We did sign some new players, so there was an element there where I thought, you know what, we might be okay. We've had a couple of good wins away at Spurs, which was a massive win, and at home to Man United as well. But looking at how the season's gone, they're not as big wins as they potentially were 2 or 3 seasons ago. And then we've had some really bad results as well, away at Norwich, a game I was at, and then away at Leicester, where we were hammered 5-0 as well, which I saw in the Midlands, which was even worse. So it's a difficult one. I think we still don't really have an identity as a side. We do seem to play similarly to last year in that we do sit back and try and break, but the difference being Rafa Benitez was a tactical genius when it came to defending and knowing how best to win every game if we could, whereas with Steve Bruce I feel like he's playing defensively because he doesn't have much of a choice, and we can't seem to sort of keep the ball in any of our games so far. I don't think we've had more possession than the other team at all so far this season. And speaking to Dave of your channel yesterday, it seems like us and Wolves are pretty similar in terms of how we set up. We do prefer to break. We're both kind of limited in our squads to an extent. I know you guys have got a bit more quality than us. I know you're a bit sort of stripped for numbers. If we are going to hurt you guys, I think it's going to be, like I say, on the break. Our front 3 is pretty good. We've got Almiron, who is a bit like Forrest Gump. He just runs and runs and runs, but doesn't really seem to know what to do with it. But there's a player there somewhere, and if he gets firing, he will be quality, I think. Got Joe Linton, who looks like a good striker, but is just isolated every single game. But the main one for me is Saint Maximin, a lad who was injured at the start, but is fully fit now and looks a bit like a Ben Arthur-esque player in that it looks like he just wants to take on every single defender, and 9 times out of 10 is successful in doing that. So I do, if I was a Wolves fan, he would be the player I'd be looking out for, running at your centre-backs and running at your full-backs, whether he's up against Doherty or Bolly or whoever it is. I do think he's our main threat. We've got the Longstaff boys in the middle who are pretty good, but they're obviously still young and still a bit naive, so we don't know how they're going to pan out yet, but there's all the talents there. Looking at Wolves' team, similar to what we said before, I think that they're obviously really good on the break, and if I was worrying about Wolves, it would probably be the pace of Traore. I know he's been criticised in the past of not really having an end product, but he is just so quick, and our 3 centre-backs have traditionally struggled with sort of quick central players if he is going to play centrally this time. Our back 3 will probably be Kieran Clark, Lascelles and Dummett, because Fabian Schär's injured, unfortunately. The beautiful man is injured. So if he's there in the middle and you manage to catch us on the break, I can't really see us defending against that. And then the man to put it away usually is Jimenez, who I know he's not really fired so far in the Premier League, but he is a quality striker, a proper all-round striker that every club should be trying to get. And I think you should be very grateful you've got a player like that in your team. So in terms of a prediction for the game, I think it will be quite evenly matched because, like I assume you guys have said in your show, both teams are quite similar. I think you guys, if you guys were at home, you would have the edge. I think because we're at home, we might have the edge. But for me, it's a bit of a coin toss as to how it's going to go. But I think I'm going to stay optimistic and go with Newcastle and go for a 2-1 win, despite the fact we haven't scored more than one goal all season, I don't think. I think it'll be us 1-0 up, you'll equalise, and our fans just to sort of snatch it right at the death on the break potentially, because you guys are a bit more gung-ho than us and will actually try and attack, whereas we're really boring and won't bother. So I'd say 2-1 win. But however it goes, I wish you all the best for the rest of the season.
So big thanks to Andy. We'll leave his links in the description down below. But Matt, if we moving on to sort of our team selection now, Wolves opt in for that 2 up front again against Bratislava, the 2 up front again last week at Southampton, especially when I called maybe for the 3 up front to return. And of course, in the second half yesterday, when we went with the wingers, it seemed to work and go in our favour. Do you think Wolves should start that way against Newcastle, a team that obviously aren't great going forward and are a little bit leaky at the back?
I'd go with the 3-5-2, and then, like I said, frustrate and pack the midfield out, and then maybe change to the 3-4-3. That's what I'd do. But looking at who's played Thursday, it probably it's a good indication of who won't be playing Sunday. Okay,
so if we start playing 2 up front, do you think Jota would come in for Cutrone, perhaps?
Yeah, he's got. Cutrone, he's like he said the word a lot, did he? And you can't drop him in his. So anyone's scoring at the minute, so.
Yeah, I think Jota up top again. Cutrone, it's just not quite working for him at the moment, but I think with the big stat that you said earlier on, the chances created, that is a huge reason why. I think
he's feeding off scraps, isn't he? I feel sorry for the lad because he works his knackers off, but there's only so many times you can run him behind and peel off if no one's finding him.
I think we knew when we were signing him what we were getting as well, like a bit of a poacher, a bit of a fox in the box, and we're not quite getting him in the areas at the moment. But hopefully, whether it be this season or it may take it 12 months to adapt as such, who knows? But yeah, I think you're correct. Jota, despite his little temper tantrum yesterday, getting that red card, and
I do feel for Jota a little bit there because how long have we've had Jota for 3 years? Well, 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
3 years, yeah. He's just get kicked up in the air every week, and I think he just found that enough. It was silly, but the referee could not wait to get that card out. And the fella who got booked against Jota made another silly tackle, and he didn't send him off. So you know it was coming. It was daft from Jota, but it's been coming. He just gets booted up in the air each week, and I think he's just had enough.
Yeah. Free midfield, I'd assume Moutinho, Neves, and Dendoncker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the standard. It'll be interesting to see how that works, and I think depending obviously Newcastle, and they may be playing the Longstaff boys in the middle as well. It'll be interesting to see how the experience of the likes of Moutinho and obviously a little bit of flair between the three of them as well, how that will work out. Johnny at the left, Adama on the right, or Doc on the right?
Adama. Doc wasn't great the other night, so give him a rest. He's still not fully fit. I'd put Adama. Back three's a weird one. It's just Bolly, Cody, and it could be Kilman, it could be Sace.
I think it'll be Sace.
It could be Bennett. I'd be tempted to throw Sace in the middle of the park as well for maybe Dendoncker.
Yeah, I'd love Sace to see. Yeah. The big. I think Sace will personally. I think he'll play at the back. But I would love to see him in the middle, because if you see him a little bit deeper, it could give Neves the freedom just to push forward a little bit more as well. So yeah, and goalkeeper obviously speaks for itself with Rui Patricio in goal. It'll be interesting to see how Wolves line up. I think again this is such a strange season because every week we go into it not knowing how Nuno's gonna start the games. But Matt, if you have to chuck a score prediction out there, what are you going for?
2-0 Wolves, and I think Jota's going to score.
Jota, I think that's a fair shout. I'm going to go with 2-1 Wolves. Hopefully another 3 points for Wolves to shoot us back up the Premier League table, and hopefully by the end of the weekend Wolves will be in the top half of the table. Still a long way to go, but it'll be interesting to see if the Wolves from last season or the Wolves of this season could sort of topple the Wolves from last season in regards to beating these teams that are down there and struggling. The next 10 games of the Premier League season sees plenty of those, so it'll be interesting to see how we do get on. Let us know your thoughts and predictions in the comments section down below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until next time, of course, after the game we'll be here with our review. But enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all very, very soon.